This is Scott Spears, and welcome to a bonus edition of The Exchange this week, joined by Matt Morgan, Heather Conley, and sitting in with us, our pal here from WGH Radio since 2018. He ran for mayor in 2023 in the city of Marion on the Democratic ticket, Glenn Coble. Now, the reason we're having a special edition this week is for a very serious local topic here. Three of us have met this person, and I don't think any of us would qualify it as a friendship.
No, I would.
Okay, friends. But I've never done anything socially with the person, is what I should say. I've worked with them. I've been with them at council meetings. Okay, 47-year-old local city councilman Ayers Ratliff, current 2nd City Ward councilman, was accused Monday night and charged Tuesday morning with rape. And here are the facts that we know. We know that it was with a girl under the age of 15. We know that it was on Sunday, the alleged event, and we do need to say alleged, rape took place. We don't know who the girl is, although everybody's speculating. Now, I have seen the police report, and the police report does say family member. But speculation there is bad, so that's where we're going to leave it. He was BCI, and the police department came Monday night, and they arrested him. His uncle, J.C. Ratliff, was with him Tuesday morning at the arraignment. There was a $500,000 bond. I do believe, if I'm saying this wrong, somebody correct me, but I do believe that was paid. Ayers has not resigned at this point. And what's been said so far, and this is all that's been said, Ray Grogan, who has not recused himself, and that's a whole conversation as well, the county prosecutor is saying that it's an open and shut case because they've got physical and electronic evidence. And J.C. Ratliff, Ayers' attorney, is saying it's a conspiracy because he has spoken out against the mayor, the prosecutor, and other people, so they're out to get him. That's where we are. Okay. Matt, you've met Ayers. I interviewed Ayers, and you were standing there a week ago. What do you think when you heard the news?
You know, I honestly didn't really know what to think. My grandma had told me that he had been arrested for it, and I had to make sure it was the right person. But I don't really know. It's hard to explain.
Would you have thought it? I mean, and not that we think people are raping people, but would you have ever dreamed that a crime like that would come from him?
No. He's been on. I don't know how long
he was here election night. On with us.
I don't know how long he's been on the city council, but he's been on the city council at least the last 2 terms now.
I believe he's the longest serving city council person at this point.
At one point in time, I believe he was even going to run for mayor.
Yeah, there was talk of that at one point.
So, it just...
By the way, the lone Democrat on city council. The lone Democrat. I don't know what that means, but that's what it is. Heather, have you ever met Ayers?
I have not.
Okay.
Not at all.
What have you made of this story and the social media, Columbus media blast?
Puts Marion on the map for a really sucky reason. And
again.
Yep, again.
Yeah. What do I even say? If it's true, it's horrible, but how, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
What have you made of the social media clatter? Chit-chat on this? With what we know. I just told you what is factual. That's really what anybody knows. But yet, on social media, you would think everybody knows everything.
Yeah, it is interesting how things get turned into the next level. And I could give you an example that's totally something else, but I don't know. I think people say a lot of things that they don't know sometimes, and it gets even more complicated.
Well, when I had originally heard it, I was trying to find some information on it because I didn't know anything about it other than that it had happened. And at the time, that was the only thing.
That's all they had.
Yeah, that was known. Is that?
And I
happened.
thought that.
Yeah, but on Facebook, all of a sudden, everybody's saying everything, and
yes.
everybody knows. So if you were on Facebook and you just believed what you read on Facebook, you would think that.
You think he was the devil?
Yeah.
You know what? And I'll tell you what. I felt Columbus media. I understand you want to be first, and I understand you want to be out there. They completely jumped the gun on that. Their story Monday night, when he was arrested, because he wasn't arrested till almost 9 o'clock Monday night, was 2 lines. City Councilman Ayers Ratliff arrested, and I forget how it was phrased, but you can go back and look at the stories from Monday night, on rape. They knew nothing. They had not talked to the prosecutor. They had not talked to anybody. And I think that was a very inappropriate story to run. I think they could have waited till the next morning to run that and got some facts, but whatever. I think that just stirred the pot Monday night. Now, Glenn...
Did they not say alleged rape?
I don't think they did, but I can't... I'm not photographic on that, but I know it was a 2-line story that they had Monday night. And his picture. And then his mugshot. We always got to have the mugshot. Glenn, now you consider him a friend. How well do you know him, first of all?
I don't know him that well. But when I was running for mayor, we got to talk several times at the city council. And it was just a friendly relationship. It wasn't... We didn't go to lunch together.
Well, that's what
or
I'm
anything
saying.
like that. But I thought of him as a friend. And I'm going to continue to think of him as a friend until I find out differently. Just because somebody has done something horrendous doesn't mean you dump them as a friend. I will try to understand and be sad for him.
The problem people are having with this particularly, well, I think there are 4 points. Number 1, rape.
Yeah.
That is not a crime that
And the
people
age.
like hearing. Age is a big one. Under 15. And the other 2 points are electronic evidence and physical evidence. And basically the prosecutor pretty well, I'm not quoting him, but pretty well saying this is a slam dunk because of those things.
Yeah, it disappoints me immensely when I first heard about it. I have not seen anything on Facebook or anything, surprisingly enough. Haven't seen anything on it. But I'm sure I will when I get home tonight. But I feel sorry for people that have that problem, and that is a problem if you're going to do something like that.
But again, we don't know he did it, and this is the problem with this whole story right now. If he did, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But I don't know that he did, and the way the media works now, it doesn't matter if he did or he didn't do it now. He's going to be saddled with this for the rest of his life.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Now, didn't you say, though, that JC said that, it was a plot.
Yes.
And that it could have been set up by the current mayor and other people that are on the other side of the aisle.
Well, that he'd been speaking out against those people, and that's why they're out to get him.
Yeah.
That's why I was particularly surprised that Ray Grogan did not recuse himself. Because I believe J.C. Ratliff, his attorney, said in the statement, he specifically mentioned he's been rough on the prosecutor. And I would think that certainly if this goes to trial, that Ratliff, J.C. Ratliff, is going to argue that the man prosecuting this case, the man who said go and arrest him, is the man who he's been criticizing. Now, does that mean that Ray Grogan's dirty? No. But it certainly doesn't look good to those jurors, I wouldn't think.
I would think that would have been, if nothing else, a great reason to recuse yourself and put in somebody that wouldn't have that baggage.
And Grogan has recused himself in the past in cases like Robert Landon.
Yeah.
So most people I talked to Monday night, people who were very favorable of Ray Grogan said he's going to recuse himself. And he didn't. And that's very peculiar in a lot of ways.
I think that the people who were very favorable of Ray Grogan probably have seen him do it before in cases like this. But I think that he probably thinks that it'll be good for the election that's coming around.
Well, see, and you think that's not going to be argued by JC? And by the way, Ray Grogan is up for election in November.
Yeah, that's a sad state of affairs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's also a great argument against this whole case.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I even know what to say about all this.
Should a prosecutor recuse himself if he even slightly knows the person?
I thought they had to. I don't know. I think I would. I don't
I'd
know.
like
Maybe
to-
I'm thinking of judges. I know judges I thought had to.
I don't think anybody has to.
Oh,
I think
really?
they're expected to, but I
Huh.
don't think you have to. I want to ask you a question about the giant question.
Yeah.
How do women think of rape differently than men? And they do.
How do women think of it differently?
I think women are more terrified and angered by rape than men. I really do.
Well,
Look at-
probably because of, as a woman, every time you walk to your car alone at night, you're like, in the back of your mind, you're aware that you're a woman walking to your car alone at night. A man never has to have those thoughts. So yeah, it probably is like a lot deeper of a thing for women.
Well, and in all these wars that are taking place throughout the world right now, men are using rape as a way to make the it's a use for evil.
Like war, yeah.
Yeah, in the war. I don't think I've ever heard of a woman using that as an evil way to get back at men. So,
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's this particular case, I believe, is all about a child.
yeah.
And I
Yes,
believe that
completely different,
angers,
yeah.
and I believe that angers
Yeah.
men and women equally.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean,
No, let's go ahead. That's your opinion. It's fair.
semi-equally, yeah.
You think so? Who's more angry? See, I think the
I
man.
would think mothers would be
Oh.
angry as hell.
See, I think if that's your daughter, I would think that you would want to kill the guy.
Oh, of course you
I
would.
think I know a lot of men who might not even have kids who would want to kill someone who did that. I think a lot of men are right there when it comes to being a child.
And a lot of men say that and don't mean it. They're trying to be tough. And I've heard that happen. So,
You know what's interesting? I've heard from people this week who basically have already convicted heirs in their own mind simply because of the age of the person and have said, I take this particularly bad because it's a child crime.
oh, and for the government to come out and say we have chemical and
Physical.
proof of it, you're basically convicting him right there.
Physical and electronic.
Yeah, yeah. They should, if they didn't say alleged or we have, this is something that we are looking into, that's different. But to say that they have that, you've convicted him.
I was surprised they put family member
That's
in
bad.
the police report
Yeah.
because they have went out of their way to not mention the victim because of the age. Why wouldn't you redact the word family?
Yeah,
I didn't understand that.
And everybody that knows the family will only have to take 20 seconds to figure out which one of the kids it might be,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, yeah. But it's also, and we're not going to say it because everybody else has said it, and we're just not going to go down that route. But the word on the street is it is a particular person, and you know what? Maybe it is. But if it's not, you don't know that. Nobody knows that factually right now. So why are you saying it? You are going to make that person's life a living hell. And that is the most, you're making a girl under the age of 15's life a living hell. Well, good for you, because you want to gossip on the internet or to somebody else. Great, 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 good stuff. If you know the person, if you know it's that person for sure, fine. That's factual. Nobody knows that for
Keep
sure.
it to yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. That's, to me, I've been repulsed by it every time I've heard it, because they've went out of their way to not say the girl's name. Why are people, does it matter? Does it really matter to you who it was? Isn't 15-year-old girl enough for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the age, they didn't need to do that. You could say an underage girl.
Well, I think they did that, and I don't think it was a 15-year-old person. So I think they took an age that was under 16.
Wasn't it phrased like
Under 15.
Under 15.
Yeah, under the age of 15.
And I think the reason they did that was because they considered 16 to be considered almost an adult. So they're saying this is a minor.
In Kentucky.
Under
maybe.
under 15's probably a whole
Yes.
more serious
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe.
Probably why they
And
said
so I
that.
think that's why they went that route.
Yeah.
But they went that route so they wouldn't give the person's name. So they wouldn't, pinpoint anybody.
When I was in the newspaper business, and quite often I took my own photographs, and I would do stories on things, they wouldn't even allow me to put a picture of an underage person
Yes.
Right,
or
right.
something, let alone give their name.
Yeah.
When I started in the media, I think at that point you could still be sued, and this is not ancient times. You could still be sued if you put, because the news story or the press release you would get, we used to do cold calls in the morning in radio. You'd come in at 4 o'clock in the morning and you would call the city police, you'd call the sheriff's department, you call the city fire department and the county fire department. And you got the facts, and they gave you everything you wanted because you were the media. And sometimes they did give you the kid's name, and they gave you the age, who had been killed or who had been something bad. If you said their name, if you put it in the story, you could be sued, and your
Yeah.
station could be sued. It was very libelous to do that. Now, somewhere we got away from that, but it was a big libel thing to do. Because it did not mean anything to the story. Then somebody's name means zip to that story. Zip.
I had mothers call me up when I was at the Messenger down in Athens and demand that we get a picture out of the newspaper, which we couldn't do because it was already on the street, but because it showed their kid way in the back, and she didn't want.
Yep.
That was causing that kid anguish or something.
wow.
So-
And isn't it interesting that newspapers used to be able to print the birth of a child? The hospital would give the newspaper the births of the babies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
All the time.
you cannot do that. The hospital will not release it because
Yeah.
of HIPAA.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So you have to give it to the newspaper or the radio station.
Wow.
It's very interesting. But why is it such a fascination of who in this case? Because it is. That's the most kerfluffle I've heard about this so far.
Well,
We
it's
know who the accused is. We know the age. We know what day it happened. We know all this. But the one thing we don't know is who. And that's what got everybody, we got to know.
Well, this is it happens around a very renowned Marion family, so that's going to draw more attention even.
And that's why it was on the Columbus media. A rape normally would not be on the Columbus media like that. Certainly wouldn't be on the front page of the paper. Not that the paper is really doing all that great.
What paper?
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it's true. I mean, it hadn't been, we're taping this on Wednesday night. This all happened Monday. It still hasn't been in there. So, that's the way it is. But this speculation is what, and you know what? I don't know. What it's going to do to the case, all this speculation, it's just going to give the defense something to argue by speculating to this great degree.
Well, they have to have something.
Yeah, well, this is going to be... Oh, and by the way, the only elected city official who has said anything about this so far is 3rd Ward City Councilman Jason Schaber, and he released this exclusive statement to WGH Talk. Here he is, as Jason wrote it. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. It is very early in the investigation. When all evidence is presented and facts are presented providing innocence or guilty, I will be the first and the loudest speaking out for the maximum punishment if guilty. I will equally be as vocal if this turns out to be a false allegation. What we know for sure, there is a victim and a criminal. Evidence will tell us who the victim is and who the criminal is. Any speculation would be a disservice to all involved. Ayers is charged with a disgusting, violent act against a minor. It makes me sick to imagine anyone could be capable of such a violent act. But I must be patient and wait for the evidence to come forward before I can cast any judgments. All I can do is pray for the Ratliff family. 3rd Ward City Councilman Jason Schaber.
And Jason sits right next to.
And they're friendly.
Yeah, and they're
and
very
they know
friendly.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked Jason. Jason once told me, he said, "You have no chance of being mayor because you're a Democrat."
There you go.
But he
right.
was honest.
He was right. He was right. But no, I mean, that's a tough statement to make right now.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to hear that. They want to hear him turn on his friend. They want to hear him burn Ayers at the stake. They certainly don't want him praying for the Ratliff family because, I don't know, I don't want to put words in Jason's mouth, but people will, and they'll say, is he talking about Ayers? Is he talking about his wife and kids? What's he talking about?
Yeah. That was quite strong of him to come out and
I
do
thought it
that.
was.
I mean, he sits literally, he rubs elbows.
2nd and 3rd Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Ayers. And I'm sure they were friendly because I saw him talking all the time, opposite sides of the aisle.
Well, can you imagine
Friends.
what he? I interviewed them together last Monday. They were standing together.
I was so stunned, and I'm just arm's length
Sidearm,
friends.
yeah. What do you make of Jason's statement, Matt? You were there when I interviewed them both together last Monday, standing next to each other, coming out of the council chambers.
I think it was certainly a. I think it certainly took some courage, I guess is the word. I don't think that. I think you're right. I don't think that people wanted, the whole everyone's innocent until proven. I think that everybody wanted him to come out and trash Ayers, but he didn't.
He didn't. And this is a man in the public eye too? Is he going to catch it for that?
He might. I as sad as it is, he might.
Jason's well liked, and I don't think he will have problems. He's,
Would you have made that statement?
Yeah, I think that's a good. I think he made a very good statement. Yeah.
What do you think, Heather? Would you have made that statement if you're also in the public eye and this is going on too? And I give Jason credit for making the statement because he is the first public official to say anything.
Yeah, he's saying he's innocent until proven guilty. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
And he's saying if it is true, then I will be out there saying prosecute and sentence to the fullest extent of the law.
Yeah. Definitely.
If I were a religious person, I'd say we need to pray for him.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think here's the problem, and this is really the story, other than the story, is what place and what presence is social media and the media having on this? It's been wall to wall for 2 days.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The night that I had heard about it, when I got on the news, the article that I saw had said Marion City Councilman Ayers Ratliff arrested on rape charges.
Yeah, good headline, huh?
So
no alleged.
yeah, no, I mean I should say I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, obviously, but I do believe that is how it read.
I think that's a law that you can't say somebody is in fact. I suppose you could say he was arrested for that.
I think he's got less to worry about with 4, 6, and 10, and more to worry about with social media, because social media is
well,
yeah.
So social media is kind of like the courthouse of the public. They like whether or not you win or lose the court case. How the public feels about you is going to be determined via social media. They're going to trash you or they're going to defend you, and so social media is the courthouse of public opinion.
Yeah, but do people understand? Okay, listen, I understand why they're outraged. I get that. I totally understand why they're outraged. But there is a victim here. And this victim lives in this community, and this victim is under 15 years old. They are seeing this play out in real time. And you know what they're thinking? I caused this.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I did read something about this, and the victim was actually the person that turned Ayers in, or turned.
It's
brought the subject up.
There's, I think that'll come out in the trial, but this happened on Sunday. We do know that, and apparently they went to school on Monday. And at school, they told a guidance counselor, and that's where it all went from. Yep. So, I don't know. There's also been speculation, and again, I don't know, that they talked to their boyfriend that night, and that's where the text messages are, and I guess she was trying to explain to her boyfriend why this happened, and then she goes to the counselor the next day. I don't know.
There's another side of this too. If this is made up, or if this is completely wrong, what in the world is Ayers going to do?
Well, that's exactly right. Too late.
Yeah.
That ship sailed, unfortunately, and that's why I'm saying, just because, and I said this morning on the air, and this applies to trying to figure out who this is before the prosecutor releases it, or anything. Just because you may be right doesn't make it right. And that's what we're doing here. We're trying him without a jury, and you know what? We may end up being right. He might have done it. He might have. I don't know. But I don't know that for sure.
Yeah,
so
we're
even
not the ones to
no,
choose.
no. And so even if you are right about him, it doesn't make it right to go out there and do all your little gossiping and all your little social mediaing right now. You are making it worse on the victim. So what are you?
On both, yeah.
Yeah. And he could end up being a victim in this, and you know what? People won't like that. But that's the truth. I mean, I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. I don't know.
No, nobody does.
What do you think, Matt?
I don't know that there's enough information for people to really make speculations as to what
But
happened.
they're going to.
I
Oh,
understand, but
They
I
already
don't,
have.
I don't think that you should be taking speculations that you find on the social media or the internet as anything more than speculations. If you want to speculate for yourself, I suggest you go on the internet and read the articles for yourself and make your own opinions based on what you read in the articles.
Why is it so important when somebody's accused, and really that's where we are
Yes.
here, to bury them?
I think people think it makes them, builds them up. Look at me, I'm going to take care of that.
People like to have a train to jump on.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, and again, it is not popular to defend heirs right now, no doubt about it. I mean, of course it's not popular. He's been accused of rape. He's been charged with rape. I mean, let's be serious here. This is very serious stuff. But I am not a judge, I am not an attorney, and I am not on a jury. So I can't say that he is guilty or innocent. So what good does it do me to say he's an awful person, which is essentially what everybody's saying?
What's stunning to me is I've lived almost 78 years as of, you don't have to send me a present, but this weekend is my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
I've lived almost 78 years. I have never, ever known of anyone that was ever even close to being accused of that. I mean, that's why it's so stunning. The
accusation's horrible.
I got goosebumps just thinking about that. I can't imagine that happening to anybody in my family or anybody I know.
It's I think worse than murder, is that
Kind of.
in the public eye, because the murder victim's dead.
Yeah.
I mean,
And there's
this
usually
is-
a reason.
Yeah, but I mean,
Rape there.
murder's
is no
murder. I mean, it's all, and you leave a victim who is scarred, and it's just unbelievable.
reason. Something else we got to figure out. This person who was apparently raped, and let's just say apparently raped because we don't know that for a fact either. But this person who was raped, what in the world makes people want to rape a child?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I
to ever have a desire sexually
yeah.
with a child, like, you need Jesus. I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear that, but I'm
Hey, if it helps, find
Man.
it. If it helps, find it.
I don't know. It's a unfortunate thing, but I just hope that we can all hold our gossip and we can all hold our typing thumbs for a minute and let the prosecutor tell us who the victim is. Let the jury do their job.
Yeah.
And let's find out who really did this. And then let's have then you can be as outraged as you want. And you can call whatever name you want once we have the verdict. But until then, we got to be a little more judicious with how we're treating people.
Yeah.
I mean, because I tell you what, if he is not guilty, they've ruined his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you unding this bell?
And he was a good politician.
You said was, see?
Yeah, that's true.
And he hasn't even
I
resigned
didn't-
yet.
I didn't even think of that.
There you are. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a second, more from the political side, because he is still the second ward city councilman as of Wednesday night, and then we're going to bring up maybe something a little lighter. We'll be back right after this. And we're back with Glenn, Matt, and Heather here talking about the Ayers Ratliff allegations that he has been charged and accused of rape, or accused and charged, however you want to say it. of a somebody younger than 15 at this point. The person has not been named as of Wednesday night when we're taping this. Now, the side I want to talk about, Ayers Ratliff is still the second ward city councilman. He has not resigned, and his attorney, J.C. Ratliff, did say he is not going to resign at this point. So, should he resign? That's the question. I think we can speculate, and we can give opinions on that, because that's a city thing.
Even if he's innocent, he's almost going to have to resign.
But people don't resign anymore, Glenn. You can accuse somebody of doing anything, and until you put them in the clink, they're going to be in. Matter of fact, you can be in the clink now, apparently, and hold office. It doesn't matter anymore.
We have an ignorant electorate.
And it's my understanding. I don't know. I know that Marion's a statutory city, but it's my understanding if you're an elected politician, they cannot get rid of you. They can have votes of no confidence.
Really?
Yeah. Well, look at the auditor.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
They've all had to resign.
So what's the point in the vote of no confidence?
Nothing. Just to be on the record saying you don't think the person's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really, I mean, you can turn it over to the Attorney General's my understanding, but apparently the process to remove somebody from office is very difficult. And until they get a verdict, I don't think the Attorney General would even look at this.
It's worse than a slap on the wrist, but not much.
No, because you don't have now a verdict. I think they would, clearly.
Yeah, I think you can do something on that. You can be impeached.
Well,
or
how
something
how
along
long
that
did
line.
Judge Warner hold on to his title?
2 years.
Yeah,
At least.
he recused himself and stepped down from his position, took a leave of absence or whatever it was, but he did not quit when the accusations and the charges came out.
Yeah.
And boy, everybody was calling on him too. You know what? Nobody's called on him to resign yet. Now that could be maybe because they haven't spoken out in public, but nobody has called on him to resign. I think that's fascinating.
That is fascinating.
Well, I mean, not much has been known. Like, not much is known, and nothing has really happened. When was he arrested?
Monday.
So it's been 2 days.
2 days. Yeah, but
Yeah, we don't know anything.
Yeah, but listen, they're having a meeting on Tuesday. What's his choice? I mean, to stay in the office and just not go, or to show up at that meeting?
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a rough one.
What are you going to do Tuesday?
So they're having a meeting about whether or not to replace him.
No, just city
No, it's
council.
just
It's the
city
normal
council.
city.
Okay.
So if he doesn't resign,
Okay.
does he just not attend the meeting, which he could do, or does he go and then face that?
Oh my.
And do they stay quiet about it? Do they not bring it up?
If I was innocent, I would go. Oh my gosh.
Well, see, that's a question.
Yeah.
There's
Good
a
point.
theory to this that why resign if you're not guilty?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, if you resign, you look guilty, is what a
Yeah.
lot of people will say.
Yeah.
So, I'm telling you, that's tough.
Or there might be a statement that comes out before the council meeting and says, I will not attend the council meeting based on my council has told me not to. And that way you're kind of safe both ways.
Yeah, but I don't think, now I do think there is a rule that if you miss a certain amount of
Yeah, there
meetings
is.
that they will throw you out.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
But it's not just one.
No, not just one.
It's
But,
more
I mean,
than
is it
two,
going to
I
be
think.
better? Is it going to be better in a few weeks?
Only no one knows.
So I guess should he resign for the city here to
Only if he's guilty.
Right.
So he should stay.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, because he certainly said not guilty, so you're saying stay.
I'd say
Okay.
stay until you want to say you're guilty.
Okay.
Or somebody tells you you're guilty.
You think we're not? I mean, listen, I'm the media and I go to those meetings, and well, of course we're going to ask him about those things at the meeting, and that's not going to be a pleasant. And I'm sure his, it's not going to be pleasant.
If I were him, and I'm absolutely certain he will get lots of guidance on how he should respond to
There'll
you.
be no response.
Yeah. Either that, or he will respond in a very positive way, saying, I am not guilty, and I will prove it, or something along that line.
I believe only because he's a city council person, just like I believed this with Judge Warner, that when you are well known in a community, you should speak. Your lawyer's going to tell you not to speak because they'll say they'll use it against you in court.
Yep.
But if you are not guilty, speaking is the best thing you can do to the
Yeah.
media, because people will see that and they'll go, oh, he's not scared of the media. He's
Yeah.
going on. Because they'll say, what do you got to be scared of if you're innocent?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I thought Trump was going to, and I know that's a different subject, but that's why I thought Trump was going to say something, or should say something, because if he came on and said he was not guilty of what people are saying, he would have looked a lot better than just being quiet and going off into the distance. I think it's always better to say something if you're charged with something that you're not guilty of.
If I was innocent, I'd show up at that meeting and stand up on the table and say, I got something to say.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't shut me up.
Well.
But you know
mean,
that's going to be a hostile crowd.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would be very hostile especially if he's there.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine walking into that room?
No, I cannot.
I mean, oh my Lord. I mean,
I might go just to watch. I'm sorry.
no, but I mean, a lot of people would.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of people
it'll
there
be a
Tuesday
crowd.
just waiting to see if he
It
walks
will
in.
be a
If he has
crowd.
not resigned, I guarantee you that.
Well, they're going to also want to know what the rest of the council is going to say about it.
Well, they bring it up. I'll tell you what, this council is not in the business of talking about this right now.
But he is a Democrat. So.
Well, I don't know if that means anything at this point.
Well, I mean, the rest of them are Republicans, so it might be a good...
The Democrats would get to appoint his successor.
Oh, would they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that they should talk about it in a city council meeting, seeing as that not much is known and it's very new. I don't think it'd be good to bring it up at a city council meeting.
I agree with
Do
that.
you think the media would not whip that city council for not calling for his resignation?
Well,
If
I
they
don't
just
think
didn't
they
say
can.
anything?
They
I
haven't
don't
done
think,
it yet.
I don't think they can at this next
Well, no, they
meeting.
haven't had a meeting.
Yeah. And I don't think they can at their first meeting, because that's saying he's guilty before he's guilty.
So should he resign? That's the question.
Well-
Glenn says no.
Not if he's not guilty. If he is guilty, I think
Well, you
I
see,
would.
but like, if the whole thing is like, if you're not guilty, I wouldn't resign. Then, well, if you're guilty, then to keep up the appearance of not being guilty, you would not resign.
Good point.
But I think sometimes when people are guilty, they resign because they can't handle, like,
Yeah.
making eye
Well,
contact.
you see, but like,
and,
there's
you
also
know.
the thing where like people who are innocent also will just resign because they can't take the
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you think it's not going to come up?
I think it's a
gonna come
lose.
up.
I think it's a lose-lose no matter how you play it.
Well, that's what I say, and that's why I say trial by fire in the media has made this undoable for him. Now, again, if he's guilty, he deserves it. But if he's not,
Do you think every one of the mainstream television stations from Columbus will come up and cover that council meeting?
I don't know.
I bet there'll be a couple of them.
You know what's interesting? I would guess, and I certainly am not anybody giving anybody advice here, but certainly if I pulled up to that meeting and saw the trucks from the television station, I don't think I would go in if I was him.
Oh, if you were him.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I'll go in. I'll go in, Glenn. I'll talk to him.
I know you'd be there.
I'll be there.
But I think he should, especially, I think I agree with Heather. If he's innocent, he's got to say it.
Yeah.
And he's gotta
In the
come
meeting?
out.
And how would you not
Whenever
want
they
to
ask.
scream it from the rooftops?
Yeah.
I would be so mad.
Yeah, me too.
I would.
You know?
I would listen. It sounds, selfish in a way, but as many people have said, we're the last local media here. So
Only.
yeah, there you go. I would come on with me before I went to that meeting, because people will hear it and that will soften that blow. I would not walk in there and give your "I'm innocent" speech to that crowd, which is going to be hostile, and they're going to be. I think I'd try to pad that blow a little.
I think you'll
make that a
leave
little
it up.
softer.
I think you'll leave it up to JC to tell him what to do.
Yeah, but JC's
Yeah.
not sitting with him there on the council
No, that's
dais.
true. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm going to that meeting, I'm going to have to say that I'm going to have to talk to the media, and I certainly would talk to them before I would go to that meeting.
Yeah, it's a good point. Get there early and get
Yeah.
it over with. Yeah.
Tell your story,
Yeah.
because you're not going to tell your story on city council. You're going to get a few minutes.
Yeah.
You can tell your story to the media, and then people can believe it or not. But that's fine. But you're not going to get to tell your story in a city council meeting. You can
No,
say you're
no.
innocent, but you're not going to tell your story.
No. I don't know if there's a time limit on what you can say, but there probably is.
I don't think so anymore, but I just think that's not going to be greeted well to be having that conversation in a council meeting, and I don't know. So you think he should get up in the meeting and say, "I'm innocent"?
I just know if I was innocent and charged of something like that, I would be like, bust down the doors. I'm coming in. I'm telling you, like, yes.
Yeah, I would.
Would you sit there and be quiet if someone accused you of that and you were innocent?
Well, see, I think it's a whole different thing to say you would do it than when you actually have all this heat and pressure on you, than to walk into a room full of people who have this animosity towards you and then tell them that they're wrong.
I would.
It's a whole other thing.
I would.
I mean,
plan it. I would
that's
have
really
everything
so
down
good.
pat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
You can only plan so deep.
who's going to be in that crowd, by the way? I mean, who's going to be there? I mean,
Yeah, it would really be uncomfortable if the parents were
there you go. That's a whole thing.
very uncomfortable.
I just don't know if that, you know, you think something's going to turn out one way, and then you got 3 television cameras on you from Columbus, and you've got the local media's microphone running, and you've got the newspaper right there with a photographer, and all of a sudden you say exactly the wrong thing. I don't know if I'd do that.
I had a similar situation when I was young. I was probably 18, 19, something like that. And a young lady came into my dad's church. She was, her mother and family were members of dad's church, and started shouting that I had raped her to all the little old ladies of the church.
Wow.
How old was this person?
She was about 18, like
Okay.
I was.
And you were 18, okay.
Somewhere the same age.
So just in the middle of a service?
No, it was during a weekday. But,
Okay.
you know, all the little old ladies from the church, they weren't little old ladies. They were younger than I am now. But all these ladies were there, and they all heard it. And that was kind of tough to live with that week, even though all those people knew that she was wrong. And it was easily proven that she was wrong because she ended up being pregnant, and it was somebody else's. And I this is a terrible thing to say, but I told several of my friends, she's too ugly to do that too. And that was terrible of me to do, but she was not a handsome woman, and I never would have, and I never touched her, let alone rape her. But things like that happen.
Why did she do this?
Yeah, why?
Well, I was, boy, this really sounds self-serving, but I was pretty popular, and
She was trying to knock you down a peg?
no, she was trying to pick herself up a peg. That the star football player, well, I wasn't a star football player, but one of the leading football players was her squeeze or something like that.
I don't think being raped is a relationship.
I didn't think it was so cool either. But- and then as soon as she left with her mom, all the little old ladies came up to me and said, "What was going on?" And I told them all that there wasn't anything to it. And my father was, it really hurt my dad a lot.
Well, I'm sure. I bet there were people who believed that you did it.
And I didn't. I
There you go.
Not even close to.
Maybe that's why she did it, to hurt your dad, you think? Or you don't
No,
think it had anything to
I
do
think
with
she
him?
was trying to build herself up. I really do.
That's
I don't think a
strange
rape
I
allegation
remember her
built
name,
you up.
but I'm not going to mention it.
She's still around?
She may be dead by now. She's my age, so.
Or maybe her parents found out she was pregnant and she had to say, "Oh my God, it was rape."
Her
Yeah,
mother,
but why would you?
her mother did find out she was pregnant.
Yeah, but why
Yeah.
wouldn't you say that about the person who, the father?
I don't know whatever happened to the father. They did find out who he was.
So she's saying she was raped because she was pregnant?
No, she just said I was. She just made that as a blanket statement to all the ladies at church.
She just ran into the church
yeah.
and said this.
Yeah.
Not the police office.
No, came into church to tell all the little old ladies. Actually, I think she came in to tell my father.
Yeah.
But the little old ladies heard.
Now, of course they did. They're all standing
And what
around
did your father say?
He pulled me aside and said, "What's going on?" basically. And I said, "Dad, I never, ever, ever touched that I almost said her name. I never touched her." And he believed me. My dad always believed me. I didn't like
And
it.
that's an interesting thing. I believe some of Air's family members have been defending him online.
Yes.
And people are angry about that. Well,
No, you should be.
what do you expect?
Yeah.
What do you expect? I mean, let's get real here.
Yeah.
I mean, you expect them what to say? Oh, no, he's guilty.
I hope that all my family will defend me in whatever I do, much like I'm sure you hope your family defends you for whatever you do, even if you make bad mistakes.
Well, this is major.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know if he did it. So do you think he should resign?
I think if he's guilty, he should. If he's innocent, he shouldn't. But that's just what I would do. I don't know.
I'm with her.
But again,
Yeah, but nobody's going to say you're
yeah,
guilty.
it's that-
Even if you are guilty,
it's
you're
that-
not going to say it.
it's that
Not
thing
yet,
to where
yeah.
if you are guilty, but you think that staying is going to give you the appearance of not being guilty, you're going to stay.
And by the way, not
you're
to
gonna do
mention,
whatever it is that gives you the appearance of not
Gives
guilty.
you the edge.
but let's not forget here in open court, your lawyer has said the whole reason
Yes.
you're being accused of rape is because the mayor and the prosecutor are out to get you amongst other people.
Yeah.
So hey, let's go look them in the eye every week and let's try to make government work.
What's really bad is if all of the above is true, and he is guilty.
I'll tell you this: Ayers is good at digging up stuff on people, and not that I'm saying he would do that in retaliation, but what if he does have information on these people? And I'll tell you what: city government has not looked the cleanest in
No,
the
it
last
hasn't.
4 or 5 months.
No.
So, and who's been the loudest?
Yeah.
Ayers.
Yes, that's true.
So, I mean, good Lord.
That's one of the reasons why I liked him. He always seemed like he was telling the truth.
So I don't know what you do. I guess that's the end of that particular discussion. I don't know what you do.
We'll find out in a couple of weeks, I think.
But people got to back up with their accusations.
Take a breather.
Yeah, calm down and let the attorney and let the prosecutor do what they're supposed to do. I don't think anybody should be judging the victim. I don't think anybody should be judging Ayers. I don't think anybody should be judging Ray Grogan right now. You know what? They're all going to make choices.
I think you should wait for the information to come out, and then once the information has come out, you can do as you please.
That's right.
We have a justice system, and it's supposed to take care of things like this. I don't even like it if an individual would criticize him even after he's proven guilty. I think you just leave it alone. We have a justice system that's going to take care of it.
You know what? I pray to God that the name of this victim comes from the prosecutor. It will come out at some point because it's going to be part of the case. But
Why?
Because if I was the media and I knew who it was, and I am the media, I don't know who it is though. I really don't. But if I did, I would not report it. Because, again, I do not feel that fact is germane to this case. And it is germane if you're the prosecutor. So that's him trying to prove his case.
The name and sex might be, but not the name.
Not the name. And so the prosecutor saying it and the media reporting on that, that's okay because he's got to prove his case, and if he's got to get testimony, that's what it is. But for us, the media, to print that name just because we know who it is,
It sells papers.
Right, but that just makes that person's life a living hell until they have to testify, and their life already is that, because they know who they are. So there are certain things I don't believe the media should do, and trust me, I'm a pretty well absolutist when it comes to freedom of the press, but I certainly, and most of the media doesn't believe, if you know when an attack is going to happen on another country, you don't report that before it happens because you're going to put people in harm's way. If you know about a drug sting going on, you don't report that because you're going to put people in harm's way. And reporting this person's name does nothing for you. It just puts them in harm's way. So no, if the media reports that, I fault that media source. Now again, if the prosecutor lets it out, then that's another thing. But if we do it as the media, then I think shame on us.
I did make a boo-boo when I said her name, but I meant her age. Her age
Her age.
and her sex.
Yeah, that's
are the
that's
two
that's
important
relevant.
things, and nothing else is.
And Ray Grogan even went out of his way to not give her exact age by just saying under 15.
Yeah.
And I think that was for protection.
Yeah.
I think they should not have left family in there, but
Yeah.
You do what you do.
Well, if for those of you who do pray, I hope that you pray for the girl and her family.
Well, can you imagine when that day comes, and it will, when the identity is revealed, what that will be like?
How would you like to be that person in school that day?
That's at school, in the community. And it did say family, by the way, so whatever your relationship is to him, how's Thanksgiving looking for you?
Ooh.
How's Christmas? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's be serious here. I mean, this is horrible.
It's a horrible situation.
So what do you do?
Well, we move on.
We move on, but I think we need to take a breather as a society here, as a community, and I think we need to just let the justice system do what it does and not critique these people we see at the grocery store, like Ayers, and when we know the victim, and Ray Grogan. I think we should not judge them at this point.
It still breaks my heart.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. And to unding the bell is undoable at this point. So
Yep.
there you go. I mean, I don't, but you know what? I don't know how you do it. When somebody accuses you of something like that, how are you going to, charge them in silence? You can't.
You know what happened to me? 2 or 3 years passed, and people forgot about that situation.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. It tamps
Especially
down.
since it was obvious that it was a lie. But
Yeah. But will people ever believe this is a lie? I mean,
some people will not.
Some
yeah.
people will not. Because they want to believe that
Yep.
people are guilty. They want to, I mean, as I was saying earlier, there are still people who believe that Judge Warner was driving the car that hit the boy. But you know what? There was never in any part of that trial, ever did that come out, that he was driving the car. Ever. But people still believe it. You can tell, and again, maybe he was, but there's just no facts that say that. So, sorry. We play by the facts. You can't speculate on stuff like that. Yeah.
That's why I don't even pay attention to any of that stuff. I really don't. I don't.
But it's out
I
there.
didn't read a newspaper because I didn't want to hear all that crap.
But do you remember we covered the Warner trial on air? The trial was going on
Yeah,
while we were
but
on
I-
the air.
Yeah, but I didn't pay attention to it.
No, but we talked about it. We
Yeah, I
talked
know.
about it because you had to. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the sad thing about media in a way, is that if you don't talk about the story, no matter how awful it is, you become irrelevant. And why are you a news source if you can't?
And I did have a lot of people ask me about it after we talked about it. And usually I just say, I don't know anything about it.
Do you remember the time we were on? Because maybe this is the way to spin this episode instead of going on to a broader topic. Do you remember the time we were on the air, live on the air?
You and me?
Yep. And we had a discussion, and I hate to bring this, so again, I'm not going to say names, but there was this person running for city council who was being accused by a party of spousal abuse.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we talked about that on the air, and we both said that they should not be bringing this out because you're hurting the victim. You're not, because we knew who it was. And do you remember, somebody called in, who we both like, and reprimanded us on the air.
I didn't remember that.
Oh yeah, we tape everything. It would be there. Called in and reprimanded us on the air that we should not be saying that it's okay
No.
for spousal abuse, which we weren't. We were just saying that you're the victim. You're bringing this all back up for the victim, and to what? Win an election.
Yeah, I don't recall that very much. But
I remember that very well. Because it's not very often that somebody who knows us both called in to chastise us for the way we were talking about that.
Probably it was due chastisement.
Well, I don't know. I still believe that. Why was that necessary? That does not make a good politician. And so what? They had a domestic violence charge on their record. Okay. By the way, they got elected. So did it work? No.
And we all deserve to be forgiven for mistakes that we have made in the past.
Matter of fact, I believe the wife came out and said, "This is awful that you're bringing this up." So there you go.
Now I do remember.
Yeah. So yeah, good job with that one. And that person got elected.
Yeah.
So there you
sure
are.
did.
Now, what do you think, Matt? In that particular case?
I don't know anything about it.
No, but I'm saying,
What do you mean?
in the bigger picture, what's the media's point here? Because this is the same type of deal. I mean, do we just harp and harp and harp and harp on this thing until it dies, or do we give it some air, print the facts, and go on?
I think you should probably, wait until some facts come out and then you could talk some more about it. I don't think that harping on it's gonna do anything.
What do you think, Heather?
I don't know on this one.
There's a solid answer for
Well,
you.
I'll tell you something interesting. I do know, I'm told that this morning, talking about this, we had our highest ratings.
Oh, really?
So there you go. What's that say?
Well, it is a local thing, and it is a local person who a lot of people know. So it's going to draw a lot of attention.
Yeah, and but I think we're doing it fairly. So I'm happy about that. Is that I am not there every morning giving an opinion. I'm saying here's the facts. Now, if the callers want to give their opinions, and they certainly have, fine. But
It kind of depends on, is it a news show or is it an opinion show? And you got to, and in your case, it's kind of both, because your callers are going to give their opinion. and
yeah,
you're
a
gonna
caller
get-
can
yeah.
give the opinion. I think that's fine. Callers can give their opinion as long as I don't, and that's the way it should be.
Would you ever do anything like, what was his name? The gentleman from Arizona that passed away, Republican who voted down on the...
Well, John McCain, he spoke at my graduation.
Yeah, John McCain. What did you think about it when John McCain stopped that person that was saying that Obama was Hindu and he was bad and stuff like that, and John McCain said, no, he is not. Now, that's something that's always stuck with me. If you're of the opposite opinion, now it would have benefited McCain for him to just let her talk bad stuff about Obama, but he said no, he's not that way. His rating, in my opinion, went sky high.
But he lost the election.
Yeah, he did, but still, his opinion in my
I think that's
my
okay.
opinion of him.
He's a politician, and he gives his opinion on a lot of things, so I think that's fine for him to do that. If a journalist was moderating that, no, I don't think they should stamp that down. I think there are other people in the room who should stamp that down, because that person's clearly asking a question. Now, if they're saying something false, now...
I'm trying to remember who the journalist was that was moderating that, and I don't believe the person jumped in faster than
McCain
did.
Yeah. I think it was a town hall. I don't think there was a journalist.
Yes,
I think it was McCain.
It was a town hall.
Yeah,
Yes,
but no, I don't think it's the journalist's place to tell society how to feel. I think it's the journalist's place to give them the facts without the opinion. Now, that's not the most popular thing in the world to do, but it's what you should do. That's journalism 101.
Unfortunately, with our news going 24/7, they have to find ways to keep you interested, so they've gone to journalism like that.
So, I guess in our final 2 minutes here, which we've spent the show on this, and this will get high ratings. I bet you a lot of people will watch this. But should we lay back on this? That's the point. Heather, what do you think? Or should we just keep on expressing ourselves on Facebook and wherever else?
I think if we don't have the facts and we keep talking, then what are we talking about if we don't have the facts?
Making up our own.
Yeah.
But the story is going to move, because will he resign? That's going to be a part of it. Who the victim is, that eventually will come out. Does he appear at Tuesday night city council meeting? That's going to be a part of it at some point. I mean, the story's going to move. It's not going to be, one story and done.
I think we have to let it be as it is.
And follow it.
Move along.
Follow the facts. What do you think, Matt, with 1 minute?
I think that you should probably have to wait until the facts come out. That way, you know what you're talking about. I don't think that spreading misinformation helps anybody.
Well, all I can say is, everybody out there with 1 minute left to go, just because you end up being right doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. So apply that to what you're writing on Facebook and what you're gossiping about in your groups. Simple as that. And take that to mean whatever you want it to mean. For Heather and Matt and Glenn, this is Scott for this episode, heading for the dugout.